Nigerians, you're welcome to the Polity today here in Abuja on Kaftan Television. My name is OSADEBAMWEN. Of course, it is indeed an interesting time for us here in Nigeria, in the Federal Capital Territory and across the country, where we are having interesting development bordering on an important issue of interest, which borders specifically on NNAMDI KANU, who, for his reason, the activist has gone to the street, leading with several persons across the country demanding for his release. Besides that, we'll also be looking at another interesting issue, which is the alleged certificate forgery by a sitting minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And an NGO has come out to demand that the security agencies should, for any reason that is required for closure for the Nigerian people, to have that matter investigated, so that you as Nigerians, because this is an issue that also concerns you, it is important to have someone who is believed to be unblemished, supervising over the affairs of the country. Needless to talk about one who is interested, who has been assigned to monitor issues of the Interior Ministry for Nigeria. So these are the two issues that we'll be looking at, and I can assure you that as we return after this break, we'll look at the issues one after the other, and then of course, remember, you'll be part of the conversation so that we know you are making your input. Once again, my name is OSADEBAMWEN, and I'm very, very happy to welcome you to this over 1 hour discussion, because we shall be on this for the for 1 hour 30 minutes, talking about how beautiful Nigeria is, dealing with these particular issues in their own merit, and then getting them dispensed with for the benefit of Nigeria and Nigerians. Thank you. We'll be looking at this after the break. Thank you. Welcome back. This is the Polity, your program. Here we'll be talking about issues that generate interest across the country, and it is very important that we look at them because it concerns us, and we're very interested in dealing with them. Here with me to discuss the two critical issues which borders on one, certificate forgery, allegation against the Minister of Interior, and then the second issue, which we are all experiencing right now across the country, given the experience we had from morning until this time of the day, is no other person but Mr. Moses ABOLADE, who is a peace-building consultant.
Good to be here. It's been a while.
It's been a while. Thank you very much for coming.
Yeah.
To be joining us later for the Zoom discussion on the certificate forgery is no other person but COMRADE DAVIES IJELE, who is further advocating the issue that has been raised by the online medium, which says that Nigerians need to know the truth about the occupant of the office of the Minister of Interior. So we'll continue with general conversation around these two, and then we'll now begin to zoom in on the issues. Now, let us start with the pressing one now before we go to the issue of the certificate forgery. What was your experience like coming out of the house today?
Okay, I had a lot of, because I've been following the trend, just like any other well-meaning Nigerians are doing, and most of us are looking at how it's going. I would have loved to be at the forefront too, but a lot also is going through my mind, especially knowing that today give us this surge of memorial for the 20th of October 2020, which is the NSS protest. And that memory, it might be 5 years ago, but the trauma is still there, and most people are concerned. Today again, should we go again and risk our lives again? What will be the reaction of the government? We know that this cause is very, very important, most Nigerians want to go out, but these days most of us too are being very strategic, because we're seeing it. We notice that some roads are blocked in Abuja, and there has been tension even before today, and the people at the forefront, we can see what's happening. It's really discouraging to see that after 5 years we're still experiencing almost the same thing. It's really pathetic, very, very terrible. But in all this, going out we will have to go out. We cannot be deterred not to express what we need to express, and I'm glad that I had to summon that courage to come out. Is a process, and I know that is a process of a lot of things that will still come. And I just want to say, because I was also out, I was in Ibadan when October 2020 happened for the NSADs. I was then the president of the Institute for Peace and Strategic Studies, University of Ibadan. Okay. And in collaboration with other people, we were able to coordinate the Ibadan protest then from University of Ibadan Gate to Mokola Runabout, if you are aware with the contest of Ibadan. So there have been memorial after that time. But the major thing is it that even after that incident, after the judicial panel, after denial and counter denial, after the fact that we know that what happened really happened, we are still where we are. That's the painful part of it. So today is more of a day that reminds us that there's a lot to do. We still have a long way to go. We have not really moved on from where we were in 2020 to this time, because it's still the same narrative, the same thing. Protesters have still been there, being pushed to the wall, and they have to still run for their life in 2025, which is so sad.
The call is a call for injustice to be corrected. That is, as far as Nigerians are concerned. Very many people woke up today and on their way out to work discover that they just do not have where to go to, because as they are moving with their vehicles, they had several military checkpoints. It was a joint checkpoint of the police and the army, barricading the road and limiting their access. Of course, many were frustrated and turned back in the early hours of the day until much later in the afternoon. As a peace builder, who has given his life to these, getting a peaceful solution, a peaceful measure in all of these issues, what would be your counsel on how to approach these?
So first, which I've always been an advocate of, we need to actually look at this beyond just one event. This is just a situation that triggers a lot of other underlying issues. As a peace builder, our concern should be the root cause of the issue. Why are people protesting? I still don't know how it's difficult. These simple things, how is it so difficult for people to understand? But also because we know that there are political concerns, political interests rather, there are peculiar desires by some people to maintain this order, because it's not like they are not aware of what to do over time, but they know that possibly they are thinking that dealing with these root causes will tamper with whatever they already amass or whatever they are doing, because most times it might go to their entrepreneurship strength, because a lot of people are feeding fat from the current situation of the country. Well, I also believe that it's ignorant of them looking at how this can, if we really pay attention to what we need to pay attention to, this might actually change the situation of the country at the end of the day. So first, we need to look at the root causes of these issues, which has to do with issues around injustice. Injustice is a major issue in Nigeria. People are not ailing part-time. From 1966, 1967, after 1970, after the Civil War, people can't say they have truly healed. And when people cannot really say there is true healing and reconciliation, like we have in Rwanda, through an honest means of say, oh, this is what happened, these are the people that should be punished, they are well punished. If that justice systems and structures are not in place, we'll be chasing peace without getting it, and the more we chase it, the more it will keep running away from us. So the first thing is, can we acknowledge the issues? Can we not be afraid as leaders afraid of people confronting us. And I think it's also very much ingrained in African society. Possibly we have a lot of good things in our culture and all that, but there are some other gray areas we need to check. One of it is an elderly person in Nigeria believe that when people are talking back at them is disrespectful. Now, especially if they are in position, it looks like it's a taboo. Why should you question my authority? And until leaders begin to see that your authority is nothing without accountability to the people you serve, your authority is a charade in the real sense of it. So the first thing is people must begin to see, leaders now in every situation. And before we talk about leaders at the governance level, let's talk about leaders in families. Let's talk about leaders in schools. The instinctive nature not to get feedback from people. Like after this show now, if I, as a good journalist, as a leader in the journalist space, you will have to go back and ask your people, how did I do? When they tell you, oh, you speak this way, you speak. Now, that feedback should help you become better. And I think if our leaders understand these simple principles, which I have put in books, we are saying it on radio, that just listen to your people. What will it cost our leaders? We know that there are several senses of insecurity here and there, but what will it cost you to say, oh, let's have another public hearing or something for these particular issues? Let's have a roundtable dialogue. Let's talk. What are the issues? Can you, oh, these are this, but this is our own reasons. Can we have a common ground without trying to bully the other into submission? And that is how to run a society. You see people running press conference in their countries every day, and they are giving people the chance to talk. And until you give the people the chance to express themselves, you will keep becoming a bullying kind of government.
You're talking about a conversation between the people and the leadership, so that they can have a seamless understanding on issues that come up and how they are dealt with. Yeah. I will need you to, do you think there's a nexus, a connection between the recent pardon lists of the president and then this particular leader of the IPOP, KANU, NNAMDI KANU, whom Omoyele Sowore is leading, the Nigerian people who believe in his freedom to the streets of Nigeria. Do you think there's a connection between that list, which of course was controversial, having a woman who is said to have murdered her husband, and then having a long list of persons involved in drugs, and then presidential pardon to them, and then you also have someone who was said to have been involved in kidnapping very prominent Nigerians in part of the north central state, leaking to southern part of the country, Kogi and Edo state, and then these persons are now pardoned expected to be work free, even though the AGF has said no. We are still looking at the list. Do you think there's a connection between that and this angst that may have led to this call?
I think first I want to start by saying over time this government have always, to the best of my own opinion, based on my own lens, the era of chronological issues, like not knowing the right time for right things. There is a particular time for a lot of things, and the same thing with subsidy, the same thing with just coming out. There is time for everything. By the scriptures, I think this is a well-known thing. You should not be so concerned about, you should be able, as a leader, you should be able to look at what are the trends, what is the context, what is the mood of the people at this particular time. You should be conscious of, oh, what are people saying? And I'm sure that at that level, you have a lot of advisors that should let you know that, oh, this should not be now, not when there are agitations around this. The timing was so wrong. And beyond the timing is in the Constitution, is the prerogative of the president to do that. But also, you don't utilize mercy at the expense of justice. You don't use such mercy to, it might be intentional, it might be unintentional, but because you should also study your context properly as a leader to be sure that if you make some certain moves, what will be the perceived intention? You might have good intention. It might be out of you looking at it in your own assessment. But one, is it the right time? The other question would be the sensitivity of this action at this time. You know, so for instance now, by the way, the issue of NNAMDI KANU, to the best of my own knowledge, I don't think is the same balance with the issue of pardon, because it's more around just laws in the first place, and the inconsistency in our justice system. Because based on a lot of information, we know that there was a particular injunction or a judgment in 2021 initially, and it was the major issue we're having is some of our laws even have holes in itself.
Which the lawyers are exploiting.
You know, but we must be sure that our laws are very strong enough beyond people, not something that can be utilized by people for their own personal interest. So issues around NNAMDI KANU is a bit more political, and I think people should see it that way, because you might commit an offense.
The prerogative of mercy is a political decision by the president. And so for many people, okay, if you could pardon this, why not this?
No,
giving the series of judgments. So what is
the reason why I am saying that pardon might not be the best way for even the people who are advocating. If you hear Showore saying that you cannot say you are pardoning somebody that a particular court of jurisdiction has once freed, and again, the issue in NNAMDI KANU's issue is more around the system itself, the consistency of judgment, and how esteemed our judiciary system is. So that's the issue. But in the sense of mercy, by the way, I was in Tanzania recently. That was 2-3 weeks ago, and we actually discussed this under the peace building balance of what comes first: justice, mercy, peace, and truth. We're trying to evaluate which comes first. And in that exercise, it was obvious that if you're not careful, if you utilize the prerogative of mercy without considering other measures around justice, you might be recycling the cycle of violence. You might be strengthening the cycle of violence, because people will say, oh, definitely, maybe one day, let me try this and see if I will get pardon one day.
Over time.
A society that doesn't, and it also depends on the context. Currently, the question should be, is this what we really need?
Is this what we really need? We'll be going on a very short break. Please let's hold that thought there. We'll be going on a short break so that we can have a link up with with COMRADE IJELE, who will be joining us through Zoom, and to discuss the issue of the certificate forgery. I will continue this conversation. So let's have. Welcome back. It is the Polity. Here we are looking at the certificate forgery, and good for us, we are now joined by DAVIES IJELE, who is the advocate that the Nigerian people deserve the right to know the details of the whole matter. Here, I'm still here at Society OSADEBAMWEN, and with me is Mr. ABOLADE, Comrade ABOLADE, who is a public analyst and a peace building consultant in the house. So we're all here to look at these issues in detail. Well, let's have let's have Comrade IJELE with us now, so that we can hear his thought on why it is important for the Nigerian people to know the details, as it were, concerning the investigation which he's calling for following the Premium Time report. Good afternoon, Mr. IJELE. Welcome to the Polity here on Kaftan TV. Can you speak louder? We can't hear you. I guess we're still having some technical some hitches here. Well, we can't hear him clearly. Check your sound. Check your sound there. Okay. No. Okay. Before they sort that, before they sort that, the Premium Times did a report which brought to the fore the allegation that the Minister of Interior, TUNJI-OJO, has issues with the NYSC certificate. It is not in any way indicting his a report of graduation from the East higher institution, but that the 12-year gap between 2006, when he graduated from school, and 2019, where he was said to have returned to the NYSC, is a very long period. And so, and that same year, the Honorable Minister is a member of the State House of Assembly in Lagos State. And so Premium Times is asking the NYSC to tell Nigerian people if the report that the certificate he is parading is actually one issued by the NYSC. And of course, he sent out report, what do you call it, a response from the NYSC in which it distanced itself from the report, from that certificate. So how do you look at these? It's still an allegation for which we need a conclusion, and that is what Davies IJELE is calling for.
Yeah, so in a situation like this, leaders should be accountable in different ways. If there are issues like this, if you have an authentic certificate and all that, you should be very free to just present it and also counter that narrative as fast as possible. But this, let me also go deeper into from a peace building lens. It speaks to how we see education itself, and how education has been more around.
Okay, let's try to see if the sound is sorted now. Yes, Comrade IJELE, let's try to hear your voice.
Okay, you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Nigerians stay at Lord, the government when Muhammad Buhari Nigeria, even if you don't have when we don't man, if peace now
I'm not sure.
For secondary, and from all the
The sound seems to be failing us now. The sound seems to be failing us. Can we have it louder? Why you sort that at the background? Possibly. Let's continue here in the studio before he comes back again. The sound seems to be failing. I heard him talking about the case of the former minister under President Muhammadu Buhari, whom he said, and the same issue that came through the Minister of Finance, whom he said the government was swift in acting to ensure that the NYSC certificate issue was done, and Nigerians had what do you call it, a closure on the matter. Why this? So, yes, we are coming from the peace building angle, you said. So,
and generally on how education should be well valued, and not just a matter of let's just overlook some things. Education is something that either helps anybody in leadership to behave better. However, while we must not totally be so much obsessed about certification, it's just a matter of, does this person meet the criteria to be in the office in the first place? Are they doing what they should be doing? It's a matter of honesty and ethics in most cases. So the best bet is for the minister or the investigation panel to come up with something succinct on this particular issue, so that people will also follow, because everything we are doing in leadership or policy making is not just for the content of or the immediate purpose of it, is for posterity, is for antecedent. It becomes something people refer to in the future, just like we are referring to Kemi's antecedent now. So it's beyond the immediate. So when we are working as a leader, as a policymaker, our concern must be beyond the immediate issue. What are these issues? And the issue of honesty, the issue of integrity, the issue of, did you do accordingly to what you think, is very important. I really wish I could hear from our guest, other guests, to be able to also know what he's thinking, because I'm sure there are diverse opinions around this particular matter, and it's obvious that we need to do more per education, per excellence when it comes to people in public offices. How do we behave? How do we ensure that we don't rush things? Because this is not the first of the kind, especially in this administration. Issues around forgery of certificates.
The Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology just signed out, resigned as the minister following the same premium time expose that has to do with the certificate. In his own case, was his institutional certificate as well as that of the NYSC. But in this particular case, the focus, what is identified to be a misnomer in the presentation of his curriculum vitae is that of his the NYSC certificate. For the institution, they have no query with that he went to the institution and also got himself out of the institution. But being in the NYSC camp is the issue. So they are looking at the 12 years, who mobilized him? If after 12 years he returned back to the NYSC, how did they return? Who mobilized him? So they want the NYSC to actually tell the Nigerian people, yes, you are saying you did this particular you gave this certificate was issued by you, the NYSC certificate was issued by you. Then they are now asking, who mobilized him? Where did he serve? Who are his classmates? Who are his NYSC mates? Who are his camp mates as well, to know that while he was in camp, they saw this particular person. These are the issues that are raging for now.
Yeah, I believe we have more to do when it comes to. There's issues that we should not be bordering on in 2025 as a nation, and it's so unfortunate that we still have issues around, even if it's alleged. It's something that our education, and it shows how strong or weak or very, very lethargic, or how not so very much on point our education system is currently. Because people really, and that's also something that we are working. I came from the educational space before getting into the peace building space as a teacher, and I can tell you that there is a lot of things around people trying to skip one process or the other for several reasons, and parents also encouraging their words to skip some process to just get certificate. My own is even that we must understand that while certificate is good, going through that process of transformation itself through the years in school is very, very important, beyond just our focus on the certificate. The issue is, are we even sure these people really go through that rigor? because that will also show in the way we carry ourselves in leadership. If you cannot actually defend, and this is not just the case, this case in view, just talking from a general lens now, if we are not sure of the certification of our leaders in schools, how are we sure that we can trust them with good governance? How are we sure we can trust them with the machinery of the state in whole wider sense? So those are the issues, and is something we should be scared of. And this is coming too rampant. Issues of forgery, issue of integrity, is becoming too rampant around this time, around this administration, and it's something we should watch to reduce, so that we don't give bad antecedents and precedent to the young generation coming.
Okay, so we getting feedback is that Comrade IJELE is with us now. Can you just round up, because our time is up? So let's give you the next 4 minutes, so you could just round up on your own call to the Nigerian security agencies regarding this issue.
There are public praise that the from the data the now they
Yeah, don't even ask.
come there. Punishment, whoever has come and which according to the rule of the nation that died
We may have to leave it here. Comrade IJELE. You have, in spite of the technical challenges, but we're still able to pick some little part of your discussion, talking about the long gap between the period of his earlier secondment and then the return to the NYSC, that gap of about 12 years, who mobilized him. I'm sure, am I correct about that's an issue you raised? Who mobilized him? There's a need for an institution to come out and say, okay, who were the one that mobilized at so time, so that they will now have the record, the master list of that mobilization. Thank you very much for joining us. Just 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
It's good to come.
We just have to go now, comrade. We understand the passion. We understand the passion in you to ensure that we are all running through a very fair and justiciable system where everyone have equal opportunity to work. Thank you very much for joining us. We hope we'll call you again. We'll have the opportunity to have you here physically at the studio in Kaftan so that the Nigerian people can join. Before we open the line, we shall be going on a break, after which we will now come back to now take phone calls that will have you, the viewers, joining us to make your contribution of both the certificate issue and that of the nationwide the mobilization for the movement to the villa by the advocates, the group advocating for the freedom of NNAMDI KANU, and then as well as the experiences that you have had in the course of commuting from your homes to your respective offices. Let's take a break now. After the break, we return back and then we now open the lines for the conversation. Thank you. Welcome back, viewers, to the Polity. Now we shall be opening the lines for you to join in the conversation, and then we want you to contribute even to the certificate issue, as well as the issue we are discussing right now, which is the protest we led by advocates for the freedom of NNAMDI KANU. And so you can join us and tell us your experience in any part of the country or in any part of the Federal Capital Territory where you encounter one challenge or the other with security agencies. So we talk about the alleged certificate forgery, and we also talk about the KANU's, the call for KANU's freedom. So the lines are open. Please join us in the conversation. Your input is also very important. We are waiting for your call. Okay, comrade, let us look at this issue of the peace angle to this call for the freedom of NNAMDI KANU. The Nigerian government does not consider it expedient to have him released, given the level of insecurity in the southeastern part of the country. Would you say that decision, in the light of the protests we have seen today in different parts of the Federal Capital Territory, and would you say that there's a need for a rethink coming from that peace building angle?
Yes, there's a lot of rethink in the way we engage in dialogue, in the way we even see the people we serve, and also in the way we engage the security apparatus of the state, either for situations like this.
Sorry, there's a call coming in, please.
Okay.
Yes, who is calling and where are you calling from? You are free to make your input on any of the two, Matt. Okay, calling from Anambra State, Nature. Go ahead.
Clinton from Anambra State.
Clinton. Go ahead, Mr. Clinton.
Yeah, I want to comment on the issue of freeing NNAMDI KANU protest.
Yes.
Yeah, it's time we do the right thing in this country. I think so. I think it's time we do the right thing. It's justice for all. Don't know if it will be your turn tomorrow. If you don't have case against him, release him. Let peace be in Southeast. Because we in the Southeast, we know what we are going through in the Southeast. But the government don't want to free him. Okay, the DSS claim they spend more than 5 million naira or what to take him. Every day he goes to court. They spend money. You don't like spending money like that? You have to release the man. Stop spending money. Let's use the money to do some other things that is necessary. Release the man because let him go. The court has set him free. The court has discharged and acquitted him. He has no case. You don't have case against him. Why not let him go?
So tell us, what is the experience like in your state of Anambra today? Yesterday in Anambra State, Onisha, at the Iweka Road, I saw some army personnel with convoy. They were just patrolling yesterday, but today we didn't see them around. Okay, it's peaceful over there. Yeah, there's peace, yeah. All right. So thank you very much for your contribution about the call for the release of NNAMDI KANU. Thank you very much. Yeah, please, one more thing. Hello. Go ahead. One more thing. I think you people are the only channel I can get that is talking about NNAMDI KANU movement, peaceful protest. It is Nigerians who are right now on the streets speaking on his behalf. So we all believe that it is important to go along with the people because power comes from the people to the government. So the government should listen. So we should draw. It is our responsibility to make government know this. I love that. You are the people, the journalists. You are the voice of the people. You understand? Yeah. What you see through, you say it's the way it is. Don't compromise. So that we can have a beautiful world. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Okay. So we're still waiting for you to join us in the call. But while we wait for you, you were talking about a peace angle. Yeah. How to handle this.
Yeah, and glad Clinton mentioned some things. By the way, I also believe that another call is coming. That's
Nigerians are very willing to speak about this. All right. So who is calling and where are you calling from?
I'm calling you from Enugu.
Enugu, okay. What's the name?
Barrister Uche Madwemesi.
Okay, Barrister Uche Madwemesi. Okay, go ahead. Can we hear your thoughts on the call for the freedom of NNAMDI KANU by the Nigerian people on the streets of Abuja?
Yes. Well, firstly, I want to commend your station for doing it because it is giving us a situation report of what is going on in Abuja over there.
All right.
Then secondly, on the release of NNAMDI KANU, one would have thought that President Ahmed Tinubu would have taken the initiative to release NNAMDI KANU to calm all nerves. Okay. If he had done that even earlier than now, it will help him to gain acceptability. In as much as the way he came into office, you know, we had a lot of misgivings about it. But now, this is a government that is engaging in dialogue with bandits and terrorists. Yeah. Then having meetings with them, carrying arms and ammunition. Then somebody who is in detention, even from all intents and purposes, the courts have even declared that there was no need detaining him because there was no law he flouted. So we have thought that the government should have listened. If it believes in the rule of law, they should do the needful to release him. If there is any other thing he commits after and he is arrested, that would have been a different ballgame. But you know, he was illegally registered from Kenya. Kenya, and is against international law. So I think we should do what is right.
And what do you think is right?
Yes, what is right is let him be released. Then if there's any other thing he does, he does any other thing again and he's arrested, it's a different ballgame. But the way it is, for him to be renditioned from Kenya and the charges they levied against him in court, they don't hold water. Even the Court of Appeal had ruled that there was no case against him. And as a lawyer, I know when a Court of Appeal, even Supreme Court ruled that if a Court of Appeal rules that there is no case against anybody, that matter can never be brought up by any court, including the Supreme Court.
All right, you are in total alliance with the court.
Yeah, my worry is that as a lawyer, the judiciary is not helping matters.
How?
Why I'm saying so? Yes, why I'm saying so is that the judiciary should have insisted on doing the right thing. There are precedents. They should be going by their precedents. If they insist on their precedents, the government cannot push them left, right, and center.
Thank you very much. I've gotten your thoughts, Madam Messi, who is saying that NNAMDI KANU should be released according to the protests on the street, and then in alliance also in consonance with the decisions of the court that there are no charges against him that warrant him to remain within the custody of the government. However, if for any reason he's committing a crime after this, then he can be picked. Oh, sorry, your other call is coming in, so the conversation is on. Yes, who is calling? From what part of the country are you calling?
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, sir.
Afternoon. Captain TV, this is Abokar calling you from ABOLADE.
Okay.
It's very unfortunate that the protesters who are on the street demanding for the release of NNAMDI KANU have not even gathered entirely when the security agents started firing, shooting tear gas. As I'm talking with you now, there are millions of protesters across various states in America protesting against Donald Trump policies. But their security agents are always professional. And this issue of NNAMDI KANU has for long been politicized. It's been stay managed for political reasons. There's no basis. If they have any evidence or charges that they will level against NNAMDI KANU, let them prosecute him in excess. If he's found guilty, let them jail him. But they should not be still managing the trial. The trial has been taking so long. It's undemocratic. That is my take. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abubakar from ABOLADE, who was just calling. For him, the government should be able to have reasons for keeping him further than they have kept him. What do you say to that? Again, your colleagues coming from the peace angle. Go ahead.
Yes. So the way it is, we must learn, our leaders must learn to listen. Everybody in Nigeria must learn to listen actively. And I think this problem starts from, as I said, other point of socialization. Schools, teachers don't listen, students don't listen, parents don't listen to their children. They believe because of the power dynamics. It is important that even when people disagree with you, be patient enough. Find means to listen to them. When people are shut down, just like we have been having it has been a major stuff. When people are shut down, you tend to just push further the doomsday. It will not change anything. It will not make any difference. So it's important that leaders policymakers understand that. I know it's difficult for them to do, and when you don't listen, it shows, and you are being defensive, because this is an act of being defensive. When you're being defensive, it shows all that critical issues, like you have been feeling insecure because you have messed up in some certain ways or the other. Even if you have, anybody can be wrong. And the other thing is that when you don't feel that you are wrong or you can be wrong, you always push this narrative of being defensive, and you always find a means to dominate the other. We must not have that outlook. It's dangerous for the people we are serving, as we
Sorry, I have a caller coming in. Yes, who's calling and where are you calling from?
Yes, my name is Ifai. I'm calling from Onitsha, Anambra State.
Okay, fine. Go ahead. Fine, Anambra State. Go ahead. What are you calling about?
Hello.
Hello, fine. Go ahead. We can hear you. Hello? Fine. Oh, sorry. I think we're having a technical issue with that. Please, you can call again. We can't hear you. Also, we're waiting for the next caller while we engage further on the issue. Good. So government should listen. We need to listen to ourselves.
We need to listen to ourselves. And it's not just from when you become a leader. Even just like we're here, we're talking. There is nothing I am contending for. Possibly we have a disagreement, which is normal. The thing is that our government did not understand that conflict is normal and natural.
Sorry, let me pick this call again. Hello. Name and where you are calling from?
Yes, my name is Prince.
Okay, Prince from where?
From Abuja.
All right, Prince from Abuja. Go ahead.
Honestly, we support this rally for the government releasing NNAMDI KANU.
All right.
Because I see no reason they should keep him so long like that.
Okay.
We have other important things they need to tackle. We have insurgency, terrorist attack, and all these things.
All right.
But I see no reason why political issues, people are doing what is more water than that, they get them released. What is really going on in this issue? My suggestion is that government should look into this issue and set him free.
All right.
That is my contribution to this affair.
Okay.
This government should just listen and just listen to the masses. This is what happens in Nepal. Slowly, this thing will get out of hand. Government will be very surprised they cannot contain it anymore.
All right, thank you very much for contributing to this conversation. We're expecting more contribution while we look at the issue here in the studio. About 2 journalists were said to have been arrested this morning, one from AFP and the other from one of the local, platform. But both have been released, I think, after an investigation by the security agencies proved there. But for instance, in my case, when I was leaving my house, there were several blocks. I had to make an early return and before coming back. What was your experience like in your own area when you were coming out?
Yes.
Did you experience anything like that?
At Katape, where I was coming from, there were blockades too, here and there. More of like, it was militarized, let me just put it like that. But I've seen similar thing there, even when...
Okay. Just that they seem to have been increased to ensure that there's a cutting. The whole essence is to prevent a breakdown of law and order. You can see on the screen some measure as some of the experiences Nigerians are having as the protesters are moving out to make their demand. People are going about their businesses, but even at that, there is a need to ensure that, as far as the government is concerned, there is a need to ensure that hoodlums do not take advantage of the situation and then make the whole thing become another security challenge that should be sorted.
Okay, so can I comment on that? Because over time I've been an advocate of looking into the root causes of issues, and when we have to be categorizing hoodlums, protesters, who creates both? The question is, this same system creates this different categorization, and in peace building or in peace and conflict balance we call it securitization, where you try to divide people and try to name some people so you can name them against the other. No, protesters are protesters, except people orchestrated intentionally as to disrupt such protest. But everybody on the angle of protest, they are protesting because one way or the other, even the people that we are calling thug are also product of this system by some people who use them during elections, and now we are getting the harvest of that. So looking at it holistically, the issue of you are protecting law and or you are militarizing an environment for law and order is also questionable. Now, and that also called for why police is the way it is in the first place. Sorry, I got a call coming. Let's take this call.
It is the POLITY, the People's Program. Can you make your contribution fast? Because you got 1 minute. All right. Sorry, what's the name? Obilo, go ahead.
My contribution is a kind of an advice.
Okay.
The federal government should remove O and the B, just extinguish them, and think of I and the P.
O and B.
And the P.
What do you mean by that?
I here means indigenous.
Okay.
Why the P means people. Before you now bring in the of Biafra. So that's why I say let them circle that O and B and think of the I and B. So whether they do anything, any Igbo man is an IPOB member. You cannot kill, you can kill.
Are you sure you're not speaking for yourself alone? You cannot be saying all Igbo men are IPOB members. That may be a conviction you hold in your heart.
Yeah, I know as a journalist you will defend it, but I know from the perspective that I'm coming from. I am only telling you that the thing is now running inside blood due to the hatred and whatever. Someone like me, I never believe in some of the stories that I've been hearing, but I'm beginning to believe in them. I so much believe in one Nigeria. But from what I'm seeing, look at what is happening in Lagos. Igbos are suffering. Look at what is happening all over. As if we're not part of the country again. What are we talking? A Supreme Court passed a judge and said, free this man. And they are now bringing another case again. You went to a foreign land, kidnapped somebody against the international law, and you are still saying you are trying somebody. Yeah? Just like the past person that spoke to you said, the thing might get to a place, a level where nobody can contain what is happening in this country again. I thought by now our president would have known the way to go about it. I reserve my program. We are still watching. As me, I'm watching. Now, so my children they watch too. Remember, that's why I said the I and the P. That's what I mean. So because my child is an Igbo man, even if I die, he remains my son.
All right.
I'll be hearing stories and I will see. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So, your last thought on this matter?
And looking at and hearing what some of the callers have said, I think that's the reason why we need to, I think the government need to review what their view of this entire conflict. This is more deeper to cultural and because there's a perception of a systemic elimination or discrimination of a group of people, which is dangerous. It is very, very dangerous because such kind of thing is being the stories that have been transferred from one generation to the other is really, really dangerous to curtail. So the best way is that we should revisit those issues, reconcile properly, ensure that you listen to these people.
Good, listen to the people. That is the last thought of our own analyst here with us, Mr. Moses Abolade, who is a peace building consultant I must thank you very much for being with us. This is the much we can have today on the Polity. We have been able to look at these matters, and you have contributed to them. We say thank you very much, and we look forward to having you here tomorrow on the Polity again, where another issues of general interest will be raised and discussed. My name is OSARETIN. Thank you, and bye from now.